Welcome everyone to the latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka the Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Pseudo45.
I'm Preth Stone, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, you are. All right. So as always, Preston, we're going to kick things off with your comment corner, but I have to ask, do you remember the comment we got?
No, I told you I wouldn't remember it. Do you remember it?
I do remember it.
Okay.
I just wondered because, like,
he said he would try to remember it, and he's asking me, so I was worried that he wouldn't remember it.
No, I remember. The thing is, we were given the comment, Christian, right before you came back, so literally within, like, 10 minutes. So,
Before we get into that, word from our sponsors. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Comic Headquarters. If you are looking for a trade paperback or hardcover, the guys over at Comic Headquarters can help. Even if they don't have what you're looking for, they'll offer to order it in for you. Visit comichqstl.com today, where you can contact them and order that trade paperback or hardcover that you've been looking for. Or give them a call at 314-433-5449. Let them know that the testing room sent you, and you can get 10% off your order.
All right. So the question, Christian, was from Travis, who said that, like, it came from a conversation we were having around AI, and just some ways that AI are being used in video games. And his question was, if AI was used in video games, how would you like to see it used, if at all? Like, maybe your answer is you don't want it anywhere nearby. The reason this question came, or the reason this came up, is because Travis gave the example of, like, I think based on that modder that was interacting with his Discord chat, you know, how he was, like, asking NPCs questions and they were answering back using AI and stuff like that. Travis mentioned that, like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if you could interact with NPCs in video games through AI, where you could ask it a question, they could give you real answers back. Now, my counter to that was you would be getting rid of a whole lot of script writers, but I think that's where this came. That's where this came from. So, if AI was used in games, how would you like to see it used, if at all? Maybe your answer is I don't want it, and that was the question.
Yeah, my answer is I don't want it. No, I don't think that. Here's the thing, in a genuine sense, like, not being shitty about it, I think that AI is, even though it is tech's current buzzword baby child that, you know, every chairman has to talk about. It's just like, I mean, like, dude, it wasn't but 8 months ago that everybody wouldn't shut the fuck up about the blockchain, and now here we are, right? Like, hundreds of startups were born overnight about crypto and the blockchain and what are you doing around that and blah 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 blah, and then it all got shoved right in the trash can because, you know, it's just the hot new thing. That being said, AI actually does have practical uses in augmenting, like, certain, like, work capabilities, and I could totally see in the future somebody being like, cool, I have spent time and created this tree, like, right, like this asset. I have created this tree asset. Now I'm going to have this, I don't know, AI to, like, go and put trees everywhere where they think they should be trees, and then I can go up with a human hand and sort of clean up where some of those are placed and whatever, right? And on a, you know, like, on an ethical, quote unquote, I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, it's just like that would be the only use in which I could see, like, if you're augmenting, like, a regular person's work, right? But that's not how people want AI to be used. They want AI to be able to, like, do this thing for me so that I don't have to do it, and then make it good, though, and move on.
Do it for me so I don't have to pay someone to do it for me is what they want to do.
I was talking to somebody today, unrelated to the podcast, and said the same thing. Like, people want AI to maximize profit with the smallest workforce possible.
Yeah.
That's where it's
at. And that's, I mean, and honestly, it's just, you know, that's the problem, is that you have people who spend all this time, like, trying to find ways to cut corners and do things, but then when you have AI do, quote unquote, build something from scratch, it's just taking real life people's work, copying it, and then putting it into your thing, right? Like, it doesn't make that, like, there's no like I love when people talk about AI art and they're like, I put in, make me a picture with a cat that is wearing a cool like sports jacket throwing a touchdown, and then you're like, and the thing goes okay, and it spits out that image, but those images were all based off of either photos or drawings that somebody already did, and that's like it was based off that learning, right? So like AI doesn't create anything. It just smashes together things that were already made into the thing that you're asking for. And that's exactly what would happen here. Like, people talk about, they're like, oh, what if, think about all the possibilities of, like, to your point, Alex, about the writing, where they're like, I could, have NPCs be able to respond in certain ways and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, that what you're talking about is script writing. You just don't want to do that, and you'd rather just have AI sort of take the front, like the heavy lifting off of it, and not have to pay somebody to do that. And as we've seen, especially recently with Google rolling out mass AI search search results for everybody, I'm sure that will go great for the people who do that, because like, you can just go ask Google really quick, hey, what are ways to fix my depression? And it will tell you to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. So,
my favorite right now is, can cockroaches live in your penis? And the answer is yes. In fact, it is not uncommon to have a cockroach living in your penis. That is a good one.
I mean, whomst amongst us hasn't had that?
If I'm not mistaken, it actually says there too, that is where the cock and cockroach comes from.
All right.
Yeah, AI is just a completely infallible, perfect tool, and everybody should use it. So,
and I was having that conversation again, same person earlier, unrelated to the pod or anything like that, where it's the problem with AI is it's aggregating data, but if you think about the internet, there are far more Reddit users and commenters on YouTube and social media and people with their own blog. Those sites far outnumber a credible news site. So if you're aggregating data, you're going to have far more random Joe on Reddit than you're going to have a legitimate news article, right? And that's a problem.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of things that the people want to use AI for that might be decent are going to be things that you can just, like Christian said, write scripts for. Like, you're going to use No Man's Sky and just put AI in there to generate the planets? No, they got perfect script in there that's going to randomly generate planets based off of all their shit and their algorithms. Like, they don't need AI to do that for them. Like, that's the whole thing with having NPCs using AI. I'm like, yeah, you're going to get shit fucking dialogue from them, though. Like, the whole point of, like, having someone write you dialogue is to have actually interesting and engaging conversations, which AI, at least right now, cannot provide us. And if they do provide it for us, they're ripping it off of something else and bringing it over. So I don't really see anything great about it. I think it just is an easy way, like you said, for companies to get rid of people and have computers do it for them. But it's going to be less in quality.
Sometimes there's genuine uses for it, right? Like, I get, like, when there's people, like, for instance, right? Like, somebody could be like, draft me up a template, like a technical design template or whatever, so I can fill in all the parts for it, right? So instead of you having to, like, draw a bunch of the squares and little arrows and stuff, it just gives you a generic template and then you fill it in, right? Sure, I don't have a problem with any of that. Like, little time savers for things that you're already doing at your job is fine. But that's really the only use case that it does its job well. Everything else, it's just bad at. Like, and it's not even not bad. It might even be the right word, but like, it's not good enough to emulate a regular human's work on any of the things that you want. And so then you run into like what you were saying, Preston, like all those issues about people just like, it's somebody who doesn't understand enough that goes like, oh, I can replace like 10 people with this and I'll just ask fucking Copilot to make me up a new video game real quick. And it's like, that's...
Now, I mean, like, not a video game base, but like for my other D&D group, like they're running a homebrew. So there's not like photos of all these things that's in his head, and he's not an artist. I'm sure he does just fine, but he'll tell you he's not an artist. And we have our other friend, you guys know him, Mikey. He just uses the forget which one, Midjourney, I think is what he uses, but he uses that to like, he is describing some like fungus mutant man, and he can pull something up real quick. And we have a fun little image to kind of look at for it. That's fun, but it's not.
And that's legit.
That's just
because you're not claiming it as work, right?
Exactly.
Like that's fine. You're saying like, hey, we need something to look at. It's fun for a game. Like that's what that's there for.
Homebrew, have a little fun with it, whatever. But
yeah,
making money
it's
off
the
it,
passing stuff off for your work is a problem.
But yeah.
Yep.
Nope. Don't want it. Don't give it to me. I don't even care if it makes me a decent Star Fox game. I don't want it.
Well, and that's the thing is that it would be like it would just be based off Star Fox games that you've already played and you only like one of those.
And why not play the original one? I mean, what? It gives me different color palettes and shit like that. Maybe kind of changes it up with portraits and stuff. It's not gonna be great.
That's the thing, and like it's already bad at writing in general, and you can already tell like when AI is writing something. So like
the disconnect there, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be in there. Like I said, I don't want it. I barely want it in my job. Yep, so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's some good uses in general. Like if I can summarize an email and you can tell me if there's actionable items, like great. Then I'll have to read the whole thing.
Yes.
But the problem too, and Christian, you kind of alluded this, and I know we've talked about it before, is that like this technology that AI actually is just machine learning, and it's been in devices for a decade now, right?
Like it's been here already.
It's been there. The smartest thing that ever happened was Microsoft rebranding machine learning as AI. And now that they've done that, they're like capitalizing. It is the new buzzword, and nobody knows what it is, and nobody knows how to use it. They just know that like we can do crazy, wacky things with it, and
we can fire people and take
results.
Jobs over.
Yeah.
The
results may vary, but profit will increase, and that's what matters.
One of the best quotes that I've seen is it was at one of the like a tech conference, but it was like some person asked, like it was like a middle manager was there in the audience, and he was like, are we at the point now where AI can replace like a human, like a worker? And specifically they were talking about developers, and the guy goes, hey, what's your role? And he's like, project manager, or like project lead, whatever it was. And the guy goes, this is not meant directly at you. He's like, but I'm just going to answer your question. We are not close at all, and I don't think we'll ever get to the point where it replaces a worker. He goes, but we are at the point where people like you or in your position think that we can. And I was like, that is a perfect way to sum up AI, where somebody who doesn't know dick about it thinks like, oh, dude, I'll just have this code my thing for me. Done. It'll just make the app go burr, and I can, be on to making billions of dollars with my idea. It's like, nah, man, it's not how that works. And I will say, on a separate side, AI has made the internet completely unfucking usable now. And it's just so frustrating.
It's Google's first result, and you can't get rid of it, is mind blowing.
It's not even just that, dude, because it was before Google started doing that. Companies were putting up AI articles all the fucking time, and it made it so that if you were searching for something, it became fucking impossible. The internet was already being taken out back and shot multiple times from the one that we grew up with, which was way better than fucking 2.0 and all the shit that we have now. But now with fucking AI, it made it so that if you were like, I would like to know the fucking statistics of, I want to know the statistics of the Chicago fire, you would have so many results before you even got to the Chicago Fire's website that showed their statistics, the ones that you were looking for. You had so many websites that would be pumping out bullshit ass fucking results that was basically just, we're writing in such a way that makes it so that our SEO score is in the bazillions, and we're always going to get the top results. And then you get shit like, the Chicago Fire are a soccer team in Chicago, Illinois, and they are having a season in the 2024 season, and this season is head by this head coach, blah, 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 and the standings this year are based in, and it like keeps going down before, you have to be 3/4 down the page before you even get a semblance of what you were looking for in the beginning. It's unbelievable. I hate it.
I'm interested to see what happens. Interested in a not like a ooh, I'm really excited. Like I think it's going to be scary to see what happens in the future. But like, people that post all of their images to social media, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything else, like I'm sure there is something in that copy in the user agreement that they can use your images however they want. I know Google has that. Google Photos does. They actually have a clause that they can use your images in ads and other stuff at their discretion because you use their service. Like you do not control them. So they're using people's images, artwork, paintings, media, everything to like train these large language models. So it'll be interesting to see, when you're talking about billions of people using this stuff in 5, 6, 7, 10 years, like, what artist has a job by that point?
I think that's the thing is that I think plenty of artists will still have a job. I think the issue is that AI is going to be trained on, like, it's only going to be as good as the people training it. And what we've seen as far as the current form of the internet is that people are going to have to shut it down immediately because it's just going to say the most racist, vitriolic shit ever because that's what it's been trained on. The only time that it will work is, like I said, when you give it a specific task that you want done that's like a monotonous thing, right? Like, enter in all of this data, like, or correlate this thing so that I don't have to, like, Alex, to your point, like, is there any action items on this email? Yes, no, great, and then move on. But like having it be like trying to create something. I mean, dude, we saw like, there was the AI that they let try to run like a stream thing, and the first thing it was immediately started going into being racist and talking about starting another Holocaust and blah blah blah. It's like, well, there you go. That's because the internet's always going to internet.
Yeah, and it's a shame too because like people that believe that say that stuff, and then people that just want to see it do something funny will say shitty stuff, and in turn you're just going to train it to be shitty.
Right.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I think there is some like if you wanted to make a mod and use it for your own gameplay where you interact with AI with NPCs, like I think more power to you. Although I think that should be like something that somebody builds that you add mod, right? Like it should be something that you add to your game. It should not put actual writers out of work. It should not put actual artists out of work and things like that. And I know that's what they're looking at, but hopefully there needs to be two things, and there's two things that we don't have. We don't have great strong unions to protect these people, and we have zero laws. So it is the
basically
Wild
no
West.
Unions.
Travis bringing up this question when we were having a conversation, he brought up that I don't know if it's ChatGPT 4.0, whoever did their latest model, the voice sounds like Scarlett Johansson, and I guess they reached out to Scarlett. Yeah, they reach out to Scarlett Johansson a couple times. Hey, will you be the voice? She said no, and then it comes out. But like, congratulations, you're suing. What are you suing? That's the problem. There's zero laws on this stuff. It's a computer-generated voice, right? So even if it sounds like you just go, well, it's not her voice, though.
And you put the little discrepancy, anything resembling a person is blah, 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 blah. The same thing you do for, like, anime characters and shit,
Yeah, and you can go, like, oh, well, it sounds just like her, and they're going to get lawyers to go out there and find somebody else that sounds just like her and say, close your eyes, listen to Scarlett Johansson, listen to this person, listen to AI, you tell me which one's which. And they're going to go, oh, we can't. You're going to go, exactly, people sound like other people, like, whoop-de-doo, you know what I mean? Like, there are no laws to protect people in the form of AI. And we, Christian, in your line of work, being in security, we know it's just going to get scarier and worse as AI gets smarter, which is why they say, like, hey, you should have safe words, you and your loved one. So if somebody calls, like, my wife calls me, she's like, oh, I'm stranded out on the road, and the guy's demanding I pay the tow truck right now, send me money. You should have safe words. So you're not just, like, sending money to
you should have safe words
people,
no matter
like,
what, just in case,
Jesus, Preston.
Banana hammock.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, it's like, and the problem is that we're right at the point with AI, especially with like, trying to scam people, that it's just good enough that if you catch somebody in a panic, that it usually, I think it's like an average, it's like 3 minutes after somebody has a phone call is when they go, wait a minute, that probably wasn't real, and then it hits them like a ton of bricks. But because they were in panic mode right before that. They're just like, oh, it sounds like a person, and they sound like they have a strong grasp on the English language, and then they believe it, right? Like,
Yeah.
because before it was really easy to pick. I mean, not really easy because scammers get people every day, but it was easier for most people to pick out scammers because you go, this person sounds like they have not the loosest grip on the English language possible, and their name is Dave.
Yeah, my name is Bill. Like, is it though?
I don't think it is. I'm not sure it is. I don't think so, and I don't know that you're going to be able to navigate yourself through this conversation. So let's just hang up right now. But now they're able to use it. It really depends on the voice they're using, and then how much stuff they have out there. Like, not for nothing, but like this YouTube channel makes it so that we've all said enough words for the years that we've been doing it now that if somebody wanted to train an AI bot to sound like Preston, they can do it.
I've said some pretty nasty shit, so you could probably make some pretty creative stuff there.
Preston over here encouraging people to do it.
Yeah.
I bet you can't make some really bad stuff with this.
Knock yourself out.
So, it's funny. All right. Good question. Anything else, Preston?
Nope. Just the usual. No comments on the YouTubes or anything like that. So.
I mean, Christian left a nice comment.
Oh,
on
I'm sorry.
YouTube,
Christian left a comment 2 episodes ago. I'm sorry.
Gosh,
He said that was an epic
sorry.
edit.
You don't sound very sorry at all, actually. All right, well then let's kick things off with our week. And Preston, I know you're gonna carry the heavy load today with the video game book club. So do you want to kick things off with your week?
Yeah, sure. So haven't had a whole lot of time for gaming. I did clean some games up. I cleaned a game up, but with the moving and everything like that, haven't had a whole lot of time. I finished Tales of Kenzera Zao. I did that before the move. It's a great game. I think I clocked in just under 10 hours, I think. Somewhere around there. So around the 10-hour mark. Great, fun game. Just like I spoke of last time, nothing has changed from the finale. I do like what they do towards the end there. I'm not going to spoil anything like that because I do want you guys to check it out. So whenever you want to, feel free on some of the family plans. So it's right there for you. Do check it out if you want to have a platformer with a little bit of combat in there, in the veins of like a Guacamelee, but maybe not as complex. It looks great. And then writing is 10 out of 10. Writing and the voice acting is phenomenal for this game. It is overall probably some of the best story that I've had of this year, for sure. Then I started playing 2 new games. I started playing a game called Melatonin. It's a little indie game that was made, I think it's just made by one person as well. But essentially it is a rhythm-based game. It has rhythm puzzles. So essentially your character, there's a very Adult Swim kind of look to it with a lot of Ollie Ollie music.
Do you remember where we saw this first? Because I thought there was a conference that we watched on that we watched on here that we talked about it, but I can't remember which one it was. But I remember it looked fucking dope.
Yeah, I want to say the Summer Games Fest, but it might could have been an indie kind of showcase from somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's on, I'm pretty sure, everything. I saw it's on Steam. Pretty sure it's on Switch and the PlayStation, the Xbox. But it's a shorter game. I wanted to get something quick. I think How Long to Beat has it just under 3 hours. So essentially, you play a character, and it's all very hand drawn. It's very hand drawn animation, and it looks great. Like I said, it has very Ollie Ollie vibes when it comes to the music. And then you're supposed to do patterns. So you can either do the triggers, or you can do the A button. Sometimes it's a press, sometimes it's a hold down. But you're going through your dreams. So your character falls asleep, and then it opens up the stage where you have, I'm pretty sure it's 4 levels, and then the very last level is a compilation of that. So, for example, the very first level you get to is you sitting on a chair that has little wings on it, and then a cheeseburger box will come open, and it'll pop open to the music, and you're supposed to be able to press it to eat it at a certain time, and it's all going within the beat, and you kind of get an idea of it. Each level starts with the practice run, which hold your hand. It's hey, here's when you press the A buttons, stuff like that. The score run, which is usually they don't put down the markers, and then you have the hard run, which speeds everything up, which honestly, I enjoy the hard mode because the faster it goes, the better I can keep up with the rhythm. If it's a super slow rhythm, like I'm just kind of like I don't know if my mind is getting impatient or what, but I'm hitting things better when it goes into a faster pace.
I think it's like that Guitar Hero syndrome where like if you know a song or you have an idea of when the beat's supposed to come in, but you're playing on easy mode, you're like,
it's not enough. Yeah.
There's only one note here, but there's like six in my head, and I know, yeah.
So but yeah, the first one was like the food one. So like the whole first stage is like dream about things. So you dream about food. Let's just say this is not the correct ones, but like food, movies, music, and add video games to it. So there's a video game one too. So you do all 4 of those different types of ones, and the last final boss battle, essentially of that like nighttime, is it has one song, but it flips in between all 4 of those as you go through. So like the first 4 measures are with this game, and then the next 2 measures of this one, the next 4, maybe the next 8 for the other one, and it kind of goes back and forth. So it takes all that practicing you've been doing over the last few stages and brings it all together for one level. I do not I haven't done it myself, but I probably don't recommend that you play the boss battle, like pause it, go away for like a couple days, and then come back and do the boss battle. You probably want to go and practice run those levels through just so you have the kind of idea in your head. Because there's some, they're not all the same. So it's not just, I'm going to press A every time on a beat. Depends on the music and stuff like that. Like, no, there's one where it's like a rocket ship one, and you dream about space, and the monitor pops up, and you hear the song like boo, and then you have to like mimic that too. So you have to hold on A for that kind of same beats, and you have to let go at that last beat. So all of a sudden you'll be playing that, like, okay, I kind of got the hang of it. That was the one that was tripping me up because it was usually like the beat that you would have let go on. Like for some reason I would always want to do it like either on a different beat or on the off beat. But all of a sudden that little monitor that you're having that's kind of showing you can kind of match it sometimes. That monitor slowly starts to go away off screen. And then now you're just using the sound cues. So there's a lot of like fun games like that too.
Yeah.
So there's one that's like I don't know what it was called, but essentially you have an eye and it has like a metronome going. You're supposed to hit the beat every time like the metronome comes into like the center of the eye. Well, of course, your eyes start to close, and all of a sudden you're doing it by just the beat and the music.
Yeah, tick.
It's a great game. If you were looking for a nice little rhythm game, like a little puzzle solver, it's good.
Do you think that would be easier if you also closed your eyes at that same time, right? Like if you just had it in your head.
For the rocket one, once the monitor moved off screen, I had like look away because I'm looking at it, and there's like it's very much like Hi-Fi Rush, to where like different pieces of the environment are also moving to the beat. So like the rocket ship one has a rocket ship there, and as it's like getting ready for takeoff, it comes up as the beat. And also there's like a line of people like are slowly going in there to the beat as well. So it's really great. If you're into rhythm games, this is a 1000% pickup. I think I paid less than $10 for it. It was on sale, I think, for like $8. I just put it on my wish list and waited for it to get cheaper. But even so, I think it's only like $10-15. Super duper worth it. Yeah, if you're looking for a good rhythm game, check out Melatonin. It's great. And then I dabbled a little bit last night. I just wanted to do like one full run until I died because this is more like a rogue-based game. But Christian might be able to talk about this a little bit more. He's played a little bit more. Is Rabbit and Steel. It is, from what I'm hearing from Christian and other people, it's very reminiscent of like Final Fantasy 14 raids. So it reminds me a lot of like when I'm fighting bosses in there. There's a lot of AoE effects and like different patterns on the screen, and you have your cute little chibi bunny character, and you pick your class, which is magician, assassin, warrior, whatever.
There's tons. There's
a lot. You can
unlock
sniper
more. And
I was playing with assassin last night, to where like one of my abilities, like, hey, if I'm doing it when the characters are facing away from me, it does extra damage. The nice thing about it, though, like while I was watching them play, I kind of figured some stuff out. So your hitbox is this tiny little white dot in the middle of your character. So it's not your actual character images. The hitbox for the enemy is this like opaque circle around it. So as long as your attacks are hitting somewhere in there, you're fine. If you with the assassin, she has a range attack, and it auto kind of aims for you, so you don't have to worry about aiming that one. But like your slicing attack, like it has to be in front of you, or like to the size of you at least. But that circle is pretty large to where you can still clip the bottom of it, and then you'll still hit the person. But if you're too far away, you use your range attack. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. The music's fantastic. The art and the aesthetic and everything that's going on as far as visually is 10 out of 10 phenomenal. I really like what I play with it, and I cannot wait to get in with the crew that we have on Discord to mess around with that and get good like 4, because it's up to 4 people. I think it's what it is. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the case. Yeah.
But yeah, that's super fun.
And it scales. It scales with the amount of people that you have in it too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then like you can get to checkpoints to where you can get treasures and stuff like that, where you can pick from. You get more of those the more people you have in. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good time. Looking to get more into it. But that's as far as games. That's pretty much it from me. I am in season 2 of Mob Psycho 100. It's a great show.
I'm so jealous.
The person who's master, was kind of starting to dislike. He seems like he was starting off there as a big dickhead, and then now it's kind of he's getting his turnaround. I just get the episode to where like his episode, and it's kind of coming back around. I'm like, good, finally. 'Cause I really like the guy in season 1, but at season 2 they really want you to not like that guy at the beginning of season 2.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I got to the second intro of season 2. That intro so far is my favorite intro from Mob Psycho.
It's so hard. All the intros are perfect. Like they're all of them are good, and I think if I remember the intro right, I think that one's my favorite too. But there's anytime like if I go back and I'm like, but this like they're all so good.
Yeah, very good. One show that intro I don't like I'm watching is My Hero, the new season. The new season is great. I've been loving it. I dislike that intro. I don't like the song. I don't like the intro in general for the most part.
I will say this about My Hero, and this could be a hot take for people who love this show. It's had one good intro/outro, and Alex knows exactly the one I'm fucking talking about. No, it's the second one. Maybe it's the third, but it's the one where
that's where they have the girl in it.
No, it's All Might does the tornado punch or whatever, like in the middle of the intro. It might be the same one, but it's that one. It's the one. It's the fight that they do with All for One at some point, and that they use that intro, and there's the fucking it goes to that punch or whatever. That's the only good one that I've liked that I let play. Otherwise, as soon as Crunchyroll shows the skip intro button, I'm like, boop.
What's her name?
Worst one, I think.
What's her name when they save the little girl? Right, the little girl with the horn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When they did the season, the half the season with her intro, that was pretty good. That was the first half of the second season or second half.
This I honestly feel hands down is probably the worst intro My Hero's had. Like
I
absolutely distaste this one. Like it's fine a little bit, but the vocals are god awful.
I think we've talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it on the pod, or maybe we have. I know we talked about it with each other, but I just don't understand like why anime, like Western TV shows don't do that, right? You keep like the same intro. You might change it up over time with new characters, but like the music is the same and stuff like that. But like with anime, it changes up all the time. Like Attack on Titan, the first 2 seasons had incredible intros. It was completely different music. And
it's the arcs. It changes with the story because it's supposed to do like foreshadowing-ish kind of things. And so it's supposed to, little... Yes, exactly. So they always change.
Mob Psycho's first
My stupid American brain has never picked up the fact that they change it with the arc. I just thought they randomly changed it like mid-season break, second half of the season and stuff like that.
No, it just always has to do with the arc. But some of them are good, some of them are bad. I don't know. Dude, for me, like if I hear it, and if it's not an immediate earworm, then I'm like, skip. I don't care. The only exception to that is every single intro and outro for JoJo because they're all bangers.
Those are they're on a different level. I am very pumped for Acolyte, but other than that, that's it for me. Like Acolyte starts next week. Super fucking stoked. It's gonna be really good. I feel I have high hopes. Finally get a Wookiee Jedi. Let's go. And they got a new type of lightsaber, the lightsaber whip.
Yeah, Preston. Let me ask you. Yeah. How do you square?
Are you ever gonna ask me how?
Yeah, no.
Hold on.
Are you pulling that shit again?
I can't wait. He is... You know what? You do your... I don't even want to pre... Go ahead.
How do people, like...
He's here to
square when... No. I just want to know, how do you square stuff when you go thousands of years in the past, but you have more advanced tech... Okay. Sorry. When you go hundreds, nearly 1,000 years... How do you square newer stuff, like newer content, showing cooler stuff that happened way in the past
you just didn't
more
see
modern
it in the
advanced
prequels.
technologies ever had?
So this is not advanced
so the
technology. This
answer
just
is like
a
this is
weapon.
super super cool. So the answer here is like the whip is super dope, and it's so dope that nobody ever wanted to use it again.
Not that they wanted to, is that it just never showed up.
Okay.
Because maybe the cool person that used it, maybe that's the only one available. You don't know. We're going to have to watch Acolyte to find out.
No, that makes sense. Okay.
You're trying to make sense of the Star Wars universe, and I'm not having it. This is not how you. That's not how you're supposed to take in Star Wars. You're not supposed to try to make sense of it. Princess Leia can float through this space. It's fine. Not a big
Can't
deal.
tell you, Preston, my answer.
It frustrates me with all media. Like, it's not Star Wars. It's all media. It's just like when you really like something and you watch it, you're like, oh, that's so cool. And then they bring in new stuff. You're like, oh, that's super cool. Why has nobody ever done that before or since? And the answer is like, because like we need people to watch this show. It's like, oh, okay.
No, because it's very, very
That's
cool.
fine.
And it was in the comics, and it's very cool to see it. To be fair, like, beforehand in the expanded universe of Star Wars, there was, like, lightsaber nunchucks. Like, there's all sorts of different type of lightsabers. They just never brought them in because fucking George Lucas was set in his ways. Like, it's just a stick that glows. Like, that's all we have. Like, we can't have multiple... that's not how lightsabers work. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You can make it up. You're making it up.
The creator?
Yes, you're just
The
making
creator
things up,
needs to
man.
shut the fuck up.
This is not a real world. It's not based in reality. This is not fucking... It's not even Star Trek, man. This is Star Wars. You're supposed to have fun.
I love that you're yelling. I love that you're yelling at the guy who created this out of his own brain.
He doesn't own it anymore.
Sets the
He can
rules.
fuck off. He sold it. He left us. He left us.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
It's
You
Jurassic
don't know
Park.
your
He left
weapons.
us, okay?
You don't know
What
what's there.
what we're saying is that the creator can be wrong.
What I'm saying is that...
I know this is going back to Constantine.
Yeah.
I knew
No,
as
I'll
soon
say-
as he
yes.
started shitting
We're
all
not
over George
changing the way
Lucas.
Jedi
I was like,
is pronounced,
somebody's going to
okay?
bring up Constantine.
If he's changing things about the world, and and then he's saying that no,
Sure.
it's not that way, and then everybody's saying
like,
and
for
then
example,
everybody's saying, George, shut the fuck up, you're an idiot.
I just
No
love the
one's
guy
telling
that
George
created...
You just
The guy
said
that
that.
created
You just said,
the
shut the fuck
lightsaber.
up, get out of here. That was your exact sentence.
The guy that created the lightsaber, you said the words, there can be other weapons,
Okay.
according to Preston. George Lucas, shut the fuck up.
because there was other weapons.
Well, my answer to him is that I told him when he was talking about this, I said, I can tell you exactly what it is. It's Preston and every other Star Wars fan has been starved for good Star Wars stuff because they keep putting out, not sometimes it's good, but other times they kind of just been throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. So when you have something cool that looks good and is cool, you're just like, great.
Yeah.
Like the Visions thing. Like everybody, like Visions was hype as fuck, and nobody cares that they were one-off stories because everybody was just like, I'm getting good Star Wars shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
There,
Gave me a bunny girl in Star Wars.
I don't know what to say about this. It's interesting. It's like there is a point though where you have to ask, do people even care anymore? So with the Rey thing, like Rey is going to get her own show.
She is.
But like,
A
do
movie.
people even care now? Right?
I want to see it.
And they're
I want continuation.
Did people hate
do
Rey?
you? People hate
People
Rey.
definitely hate Rey. Yeah.
I don't.
Why?
I don't mind her
Because
because
she took
the
the
internet exists.
Because they didn't
Internet
like the
exists, and
sequel
she's a woman.
movies. Yeah. Well, that too.
She
But
got
like,
she
I
got too
keep hearing
powerful.
you guys
too
are
quick.
hurting my, but you guys are talking at the same time.
She got too powerful too quick. Is what it was.
they
and
say
she's a
she
woman.
got too powerful too quick. Some people are sexist about it. Some people hate the fact
Yeah.
that she took up the Skywalker name. I say I don't care. It's a fun, dumb Star Wars movie. Let's have fun.
Can we say though that like the getting powerful too quick thing is like, are we sure that's what we want to
I mean,
hang the hat
Luke.
on?
I mean, yeah, but
She
was
does
cloned
things
to
that
be-
nobody else has ever done.
but she was made
That's-
to do so.
So
It's a franchise about people doing things that nobody else has ever done.
no,
We played a game
I don't. Again,
to where
I
a guy
don't.
got
I
real
don't mind
powerful
it.
real fast.
I liked the sequel, so I don't mind it. But that's the argument, right? Like she's
I
done so much
just-
other
yeah,
shit.
I'm
She
not-
does so
for-
quick.
yeah, I'm not-
Yeah.
I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying that I think it's funny thing that's like,
Yeah.
she got too powerful too fast, and it's like it's literally a show about people getting very powerful very fast, and then either buckling or handling that pressure very well. That's literally the stories, but whatever. And also, I think the biggest sins of the like, I'm not even writing for these because I'm not like the biggest Star Wars person, but like I think that the biggest sin of those movies is what they do to John Boyega's character, not
Yes,
Rey.
100%. Yeah.
I still stand by the fact that he should have died, and he should have given himself in the second movie when he went to like drive his little spaceship's land speeder into the big laser cannon. I think that would have been an amazing hero's end and a great arc for him. And instead, they like had Rose save him and turned into the most benign, boring relationship bullshit
issue
that ever happened. And
is that they took away the idea of him being a Jedi. He went toe to toe against Kylo fucking Ren and held up for the most part. Outside of him, he got his spine all fucked up.
Got sliced in the back, yeah.
Yeah, but he held his ground for a hot minute.
Got paralyzed afterwards, but otherwise
he held his own for a good hot minute. And then, there was supposed to be that third movie to where like he say, Ray, I gotta tell you something. When they're falling in the sand, it was gonna be that he found out he's force sensitive. So what I want the next one to be is Ray starting up her own little fucking academy or whatever, and then Boyega's there with her.
They will have to pay
not gonna
him
happen.
so much money.
He's not going to do it.
The fans treated him like shit. He'll never come back.
He's not going to do it. He's outwardly like spoken against Disney and like been like very.
Well, that's what I mean.
He'll
never come back.
He's not going to come back, and Disney's not going to want him back. So.
But also, like again, I just say Disney is the worst offender of this by far. But it's like these stories you're telling, like. How long have you waited since those movies have been over to do something with Rey? And then there's rumor right now of them possibly doing content around Chris Evans' Captain America, of like what happened, a little miniseries of like what happened when he returned all the Infinity Stones after Infinity War. Because it's been like 8 years. Like, who cares? And that's my problem, especially with Disney. You're just creating content to create content, not asking like, does this story deserve to exist?
We made money off that person once. Let's do it again.
Once.
I agree that Disney is the worst offender of this, but that's just like as far as Western media is concerned, that's just where we're at. Like that goes for music, video games, TV, everything. Like they don't. All people are interested in is capitalizing. Yes, like I'm not trying to sound like a fucking but like it really like seriously like we're gone are the days where something is allowed to just be good and be by itself, and you can just like now there's spaces where that is still happening, right? Like there's the indie space that a lot of that stuff is happening either through all form of art or whatever, but like dude, if you're thinking like mainstream, I'm gonna get something cool, it's like you'll get something cool once, and then as soon as they find out that it's cool and that you liked it, they'll drive it into the ground to the point where you don't want it ever again.
Here, take more, let me shove more in your face.
Yeah,
they're doing, I mean, Dune, I loved the first movie. I really enjoyed the second movie. Now they're doing an HBO TV show, and the TV show could be good. I don't know. It looks an awful lot like Game of Thrones in the. Yeah, it looks very much like Game of Thrones in the Dune universe. Sure, it will have some bits of Game of Thrones in there because HBO, but like, do they? If that's successful, they're not going to stop there either, right? Like, just everything is derivative of itself. They just never.
No, everything has to be a cinematic universe, and it has to just be this whole thing. Yes, I mean, like, dude, fuck. I'm not even like. I fucking love Lord of the Rings. Like, it's my fucking shit. But they're out, but like, well, we're dragging Peter Jackson out of his house, and we're making another trilogy, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess. And like the first movie will be all around Gollum and it'll be Andy Serkis. It's like, dude, I'm not even like, sure, I understand that you have all of the right people in the room and like that's not even the problem. The problem is that I didn't need any more. I'm good.
Like, again, that goes back to what I was saying about like stuff happens and never shows up again and stuff. That's even frustrating in itself because like we know what Gollum did between like Lord of the Rings and when he turned into Gollum, right? He was pretty solitary. The ring took him over and he drove himself crazy with his precious, right? So we have an answer, but you're gonna make up other bullshit and you're gonna place him around other characters that he didn't see before, but now he's gonna like see it, and it just
dude,
doesn't
like
make any
it's the beauty
sense.
Of it's the beauty of some of those movies, even or it's the beauty of the original trilogy outside of like the books, right? Where it's like. And we can move off. This is the derailment cast of all derailment casts we've had. But, like, it's the beauty of that, like, the original, where they, when it cuts to Gandalf and he's asking, or when Frodo asks about Gollum, and it cuts to him being tortured in the fucking tower, and it says Shire bag and stuff. Like, even though there's more that happens in the books, as far as the viewer is concerned, you need Dick else. That's it. You got the point. Oh, he's being tortured, and that's how they figured out where the ring was being hidden. Done. You don't need any else more than that. There's no other questions. And sure, in the book, like, you get extra flavor around it, and that's perfect because that's the source of truth, right? But like,
from that.
but like before that, like all of that stuff leading up to that moment. You want to know why the books never touch on what he was doing? Is because it doesn't fucking matter. Like,
can you imagine the exec at Warner Brothers who went, okay, so we just released a Gollum video game that actually is like this kind of story, right? Like him escaping from being tortured and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was awful, among like the worst games of last year. And they go, well, I know, of course it failed because it wasn't a movie. We need to make it a movie. And you're just like, but why though?
If we get Andy Serkis to show up, everybody will be excited. And it's like, dude, Andy Serkis, again, like I said, you have all the right people in the room. That's not what people are upset at. Like, it's that we don't need anymore. Like,
yeah.
You already are in this like random spot where people aren't super mad at you about Rings of Power because like you're basing it off of the appendices, which is like, who gives a shit? Like,
at
knock yourself out.
Rings of Power ended on a high note with the reveal of like Mordor
sure, but
and stuff.
what I mean is like,
people aren't mad because of that last episode.
But I just mean like you're basing it off of a part of the lore that is basically like a spreadsheet anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so who gives a shit? Like, it really is. I mean, like, as far as the appendices is concerned, it's literally just bullet points of events.
Right, but I mean, I'm sure, like, Tolkien, if you go to his house, those appendices probably come from, like, a wall's worth of an encyclopedia he wrote of shit.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, well, and those will never be published, so it's not like, anybody's going to fucking know about that except whatever. But that's my point, is that I'm just saying, like, people aren't mad about that because it's like, you were experimenting in a space that had a lot of openness to begin with. So, like, who gives a shit about what happens in there? Because if you go like, oh, well, we want to play in this 100-year era, it's like, sure, there's like, yeah, knock yourself out. I'll watch something around that. Who gives a shit? But like, playing around in the very well-documented trilogy, like, well, people want to know what Gollum was. No, we don't. No, nobody does. And nobody cares either. Anyway.
As we end this, can I just say the genius of Tolkien? Like, I was watching something the other day around Game of Thrones. It was an old interview or something. They were talking about Dothraki. And they're like, yeah, we had to create Dothraki based on, like, these different languages that exist because we needed a language spoken for the show. We've never seen it written. Like, it doesn't exist. We had to make something up for it. And they were talking about that. The genius of Tolkien is, like, before he wrote his books, not only did he have an actual Elvish language and a language for the hobbits and a language for, like, the dwarves and stuff, but, like, it was spoken language, it was written language, it had verbs, it has adjectives, it has, like, its own punctuation, and more like, that's incredible to have all of that in the moment, and, like, entire libraries of books on all of that stuff.
Yeah, dude, he rules. Yeah, very good. It's very frustrating. It's whatever. But that's I guess that's the end of it. It's just, man, it's so hard for us. Not only that, but it's so hard for us to have anything nice anymore because of where we're at. Like, it's annoying.
We finished Shogun. I thought Shogun was really, really good, based off a book, pretty concise book, apparently.
Do not need that second season.
Told the whole story, and they greenlit it for a second, third if they want it. Now, if they do it, if they do it in the way the books fall, which is like different time periods, different locations, so like every season does a book which is all different, fine.
They're not going
But if you're going to tell the story of Japan, the Shogun that ended, then that's like, ugh. I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what are you joking? You don't get those actors on TV. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. They are absolutely the fuck not. They are going to just do it. Yeah. Ugh.
Apparently the main actor there was like the executive producer that brought this to life. The guy that played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the one.
Oh, then I hope that he makes the right choice, then I hope that he makes the right choice, but it won't really be particularly up to him anymore because Fox and Hulu and all are the ones who own it.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, Speaking of things that are nice, I can go next because the last game Preston talked about is one I played, Rabbit and Steel. This game fucking owns. If I wasn't neck deep in the grind right now with 14 with Alex, this was probably all I'd be fucking playing. It scratches that itch of... So people describe, rating in all MMOs, across all MMOs, is different across all, but it's like the quote unquote like pinnacle of the content, right? Like it's the high note that you're trying to get to. It's what you're always chasing, blah blah blah. And a lot of MMOs, almost all of them, do it differently in each one. Obviously, the two biggest between WoW and 14. WoW is very, at least, I don't, it's been a long time since Alex and I have played that game, but back in the day when we did play, back in the original 3 expansions, you played a little bit longer than that, but it's very binary. It's basically like on or off mechanics. Like that's it. Like you're either doing it right and you will take no damage, or you are doing it wrong and you will die. Like that's basically WoW in a nutshell. 14 is closer to like a dance. Like there are steps in each mechanic of like, come here, do this, move out, move in, go around, follow this in a circle, do this in this pattern, or all these different things that have your character sort of moving around, and to the point where the reason that it feels so good is, and Alex, you and I can attest that because of how long we played, which is like there becomes this like flow state that you almost get into when everything is sort of just fucking moving and a fight and you're seeing it and you go, okay, I know what this is. I go here. Next up is here. And you end up being able to be in the right spot before something even happens. And it's just like this machine that's just moving. And somebody went and made a fucking roguelite that is basically just that all the time. And it's awesome. It's so good. Like, all the classes feel different, and the only difference between this and like something like 14 is that although you can still have classes that hand out like positive buffs to the people around you, there's not like a healer or anything. Like, everybody is just doing different types of damage in different ways. Every fight is basically has different mechanics, and then as you go through, it's like, okay, remember these mechanics that you've learned. Okay, now we're stacking these together and doing these or moving, and it's like when you add more people, it'll be like, oh, like the Alex, we were just bitching about this one the other day, but like in Stormblood, the Lakshmi trial, where people don't know what to do with the cross mechanic, right? So like it's similar in this game. There's one that's like early on in one of the first areas. There's a boss that's like, you're gonna put a cross on everybody on the screen, but then you guys have to line up in such a way that makes it so that you don't overlap with each other, but you're also in the safe zone, right? And so it's everybody lining up and doing the right thing. And the same way, as soon as this starts hitting, you're just rolling, and you're watching the damage go down, and you're not taking hits, and sometimes you might get hit, and that's okay. But it's perfect. I love it. It's very, very fun. There's a story mode, or there's story to each zone that happens if you're playing solo. Otherwise, if you're just playing cooperative, it's just you and your friends just running through runs. Like, you're just going and trying to unlock new classes and unlock different things. So it's awesome. Yeah, I love it. Also doing the 14 thing with Alex. We have a lot more to play this weekend. And then I've also, while basketball's been on, I've been playing Euden Chronicle still. It's very good. I'm trying to think. That's it? Yes. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, also on the 14 grind, I was, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the list of things I needed to accomplish before the end of or before the expansion came out, was so small. It's like 4 things. And since playing with Christian again, that list has actually grown, and I've only added things to it, which is super irritating. Like, I had a couple of crafters I wanted to finish. I finished one of my goldsmith, and I was like, cool, I'm done. Maybe I'll start one of these for fun. And Christian's like, you know what you should do? You should get your botanist up so we have all the gatherers. Like, oh, okay. So, like, he's almost 90 now. And he would have been... I would have had him done today, except I was doing other stuff. Last night, Christian was like, hey, man, I've been doing Boja a lot. Like, we were talking. I know he's been doing Boja, which is this, like, instance little area that you have to go into. It's completely, like, self-contained sort of thing. Very similar to this other area called Eureka that we are doing together. And we were in Eureka, and I was like, I see this guy running around the Cerberus Mountain. I'm like, I love that mount. I've loved that mount for years. Like, it's so cool. And Christian's like, oh, dude, I can totally tell you how to do that. I was like, oh, you know how to get it? He's like, yeah, totally. He's like, just gotta do Boja with me. I was like, oh. So he sends me yesterday.
Before, the best part is right before that, when I said, I was like, yeah, I've been working on Boja since when you weren't on, because I know that you don't care about it. He's like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care about it. He was like, I don't want any of it. None of it looks as good as the Eureka stuff we're doing, so fuck it, don't care. And I was like, great, yeah, no problem. And then he sees this mount, and I was like, well, you just gotta do Boja, and you can get it. And he's like, oh, and then today, as soon as he gets on, he's like, well, I'd love to get the judge set for my DPS, and I want to do the weapon. I'm like, oh, I thought all of that looked like shit.
I mean, if I don't get it, I don't get it, because I'm pretty geared and I like it. But I do want the mount, and unfortunately, I have to do Boja stuff. So I've been doing that
at the very end.
Well, good thing I'm halfway, 12 out of 25 levels. So there you go. Yeah. So added that to the list. Christian and I are finished off Eureka. Added that to the list. This weekend we're going to try and do a different area called Eureka Orthos. So we're adding that to the list. So more stuff gets added as we're getting down and down and down in time on the expansion. So I'm fully in that grind, having a ton of fun. Travis has been into it with Christian and I know he's having a ton of fun. So yeah, that's all I've been playing. And then of course the game that we're going to talk about today. Come on. The game I want to talk about today, which is Ghostbusters. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Preston, if you want to take it away.
I will. And for any of you listening, I do apologize if you hear some bang in the background. The roofers have now just gotten above the office. So we'll just go ahead and go through. I will try to take that out as best as possible. We are on part 2. We went through 2 of these levels. We went through the museum and returned to Sedgwick, if I remember that correctly. We'd like to start off with the fun little bonus feature. So, cuts that were made to the game. So these are things that were known to be possibly in the game or recorded stuff that was got rid of. I got these from Wiki. So, as most of you guys know, this game had a multiplayer mode. It was all right. There was like a high score ranking board up there. And I think there was even a trophy attached to said multiplayer, which was really, really bad. I did not get that multiplayer trophy. But Remastered, I think, even took... it did. It got rid of multiplayer altogether, so there's no multiplayer in the Remastered version. But the cutting floor had the multiplayer, had you play as a ghost option, working more like a tag kind of thing. So you'd be Slimer, and you just try to run through other people before they catch you. To slime them, and essentially you get your points that way. But that was removed from the multiplayer.
If you had the same sort of like movement and speed and other abilities that the ghosts in the game have, I would be unstoppable.
That'd been great.
Because those ghosts are impossible to hit sometimes.
So the I can't remember the exact name of the game, but it was the game I'm pretty sure came out last year. It was a Ghostbuster game. It was a multiplayer game. But you could play as the ghosts. So it was like, I think 3v1, 4v1, I forget what it was. But it would have been probably like that for the most part, if I had to guess how that would have gone down. There were a handful of levels that did not make the full game. Even some of these had full-on voice-acted lines done for these sections. They just weren't finished off. So we had a Halloween rave level, which made you use your PKE meter to find out who was ghosts in like the club scene. And then you try to take them down the rave. So that was kind of a neat little idea. There was an Ellis Island level. There was a level in the subway that involved the ghost train from the second movie. There was a short part in the Stay Puft Marshmallow level where you were strapped to the back of the Ecto-1 taking down, I guess, I'm assuming the little teeny tiny minion guys and Stay Puft while the Ecto was driving through Times Square. So I think that would have been fun. I was kind of hoping, for a little bit more Ecto-1 play, like maybe a level to where you're... At least let me get to this Sedgwick. Let me do that, because...
Little like car play?
Yeah, so if you watch the movies, it looks so much fun when you see that Ecto just tearing ass through New York, doing fucking drifts and shit, things that car probably couldn't actually do.
You wanted Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, but with Ghostbusters.
I wanted Grand Theft Auto 5 with Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Yeah.
That driving mechanic and just let me go.
5
there.
wasn't. It would have been San Andreas when this game came out, but yes,
when this game came out, sure, yeah, exactly. But yeah, just some good. Just get me from point A to point B. Have a nice little fun, not on rails, but you can't explore all of New York.
Really, what you wanted was what you really wanted. Then the closer is L.A. Noire. You wanted L.A. Noire,
yes.
but with Ghostbusters.
Kind of. Yeah.
I think
driving in L.A. Noire is not great.
But you get to drive around, and that's what Preston wanted on the Ecto-1 for sure. I think so. That's interesting. The club level.
There's more
I'm
levels
already
too.
thinking if you when you talk about that club level, my brain immediately says I would have rather have that than the library level for sure.
Oh yeah.
And if we're talking about things that get cut that library level, and the end of the library level is cool, when you're going through the thing, but then that boss sucks.
Of the library level.
But dude, the club would have that sounds like that'd have been really fun. And then I guess both of the ways they handled the Stay Puft was cool. I like hanging from the building and having the giant set piece and
I have
doing
a feeling
that.
that's what probably replaced that, if I had to guess.
That's what I mean, right? Is that's cool, but the car thing also sounds cool. So I could have taken either one.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But the hanging from the building is a lot easier to code when you're talking about a static,
not
Stay
having
Puft
a
moving
street
up and you're
having to
just
move around
Yeah.
on it.
not having the
Yeah.
car AI and everything
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
There was a Wall Street level and also a Temple of Gozer level where they were going to get the what was it? The two dog people, the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper, whatever their actual
The
names
ones
are.
that want to bang all the time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the Bang Bros. They were going to get those guys back to do that, but that was also cut. There was cut DLC. So there was DLC that was supposed to be involved as well. This is going to introduce contemporary comedic actors as a different team, and Peter Venkman was going to essentially start an LA branch, and have you'd have comedic actors, which I always thought was going to be the great way to do Ghostbusters 3 the movie, which was have who are the new contemporary comedians, have them be the 4 actors in it, and
I think you got that. That was
we did.
Kristen
That was
Wiig
yeah.
and all the other women that were. Kristen Wiig is the only one that his name I can remember.
Melissa
but there's the
McCarthy,
other woman that was on SNL.
Kate McKinnon,
it was really funny.
Yep.
Kate McKinnon, she's hilarious. Yeah, that's what you got, man.
We did, and I didn't completely
you got
hate
your
that,
wish.
but it's
Yeah, you got your wish.
the ending was really rough and bad. I didn't like the way they did cameos, but I've mentioned that before. There was supposed to be a Thanksgiving and a Christmas DLC. I was assuming they were going to do that around those holidays.
God, dude, how big was this game supposed to be?
Same thing involving something involving the Vigo painting. So maybe that would explain why he was on the painting again. But yeah, that was everything that was cut from the game that was
I think
known.
they realized this game is cross-platform, and the team working on the game for the Wii goes, we can't do any of that.
Or the PS2,
Just so you know.
or the PSP, or the DS. It's They would
The
have lost
DS and the PSP can't do any of this either.
We can't download DLC for these consoles. I'm sorry. All right. Well, we will start off with the History Museum level. It is opening night for the Gozer exhibit. We get in through the loading dock. You're walking around. It's kind of a slow part of the level, clearing out some black slime. At one point, you have to turn on the power to get through a door. So you go back to find a box, and let's see here. I'm going to find a box and slime and turn on the power to get to the door. So there was, it was blocked by some slime. Once you find the box once you get through there, past that door, you will find a box that's moving around. This is the assistant curator for the museum. He was actually running away from a possessor demon ghost. which gets in our face. Ray says, "Come at me," and gets possessed by a ghost. This will kind of now give you the new enemy mechanic, which is that these ghosts can possess NPCs, which you therefore have to slime, which has their own little health bar. And then after they escape, you must go at them with their own health bar and cross your fingers they don't possess someone again.
In a little bit later here, when we're in the lobby,
I got it written down, yep.
I almost lost my fucking
There's a lot of possessions happening in that part of the level, for sure. But yeah, so after we find him out and then we, deal with the possessor demon, we get to the exhibit where we arrive there. For some reason, we had to go through the loading dock, but we're just going to be hanging out there anyways. So don't know if that was completely necessary, but we're here. We get a cutscene with Pecker talking shit, and Alyssa gets possessed by a demon, along with a handful of other people who are there at the exhibit.
Now, really quick, why do they save him?
I mean, they just do it because they have to catch ghosts anyways, because if they don't capture the ghost from him, he'll just get out of Pecker and go to somebody else.
Yeah, and then you can worry about it, but we save him immediately, and then he's really ungrateful about it. But I feel like you just lock him up, and then when the ghost jumps, be like, "Nah, I don't know, man. He still looks like he might be possessed. Just leave him in jail, and then you don't have that problem anymore."
Well, there might be something special about him later on that we'll find out here. So, but yeah, we go into the main area of the exhibit. There is a lot of people getting possessed. I put down here, and I'm sure is what Alex meant, too many possessors. Made this section a bit long. So they are getting your teammates as well. And the whole thing about your teammates is whether they're down or possessed, you want to make sure to get them not that status. So that way you can not have to deal with them. And if you get down, you'll have multiple options on who's going to revive you. But there is way too many possessions because you're getting one guy, and as you're getting one guy unpossessed, someone else gets possessed, and now you got 2 or 3 people possessed, so you're working on those. And you don't want to go after the ghost because you got 3 other people possessed over here, not helping you out.
And when you get them out of the body, you can't even take their health bar down because they just run. So you get them out of the body, they immediately go the other way. So now you're I'm going to shoot another ghost. So if somebody else isn't possessed, at one point my entire team was possessed, and I was just pissed. I'm like, this is the dumbest mechanic I've ever seen.
I didn't have that happen to me, and the only reason that I can think of is because I have now found a sweet spot in this game, which is I started on normal, and I was like, oh boy. This is gonna piss me off. But I was like, there's no way to change the difficulty until I found out that you can hit the replay stage button, and it will just let you pick up from whatever stage you pick on, and then it will let you choose the difficulty there.
Oh, there you go.
So then I did easy and kept going, and all the stages are like a walk in the park comparatively to what it is on experienced. And so I smoked everybody, and I was just like, I don't think that I had a single problem catching anybody or having it. I don't know if anybody on my team even got possessed outside of the story related one. What happens with
Peck?
What's his name? Thank you. Yes, him, but also I'm blanking on his name. I don't know why.
The curator?
But the person on the team that gets it is like the tutorial.
Oh, Ray. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Jesus Christ. But yeah, outside of those two, the story related ones, I never had it happen again.
Well, to be fair, it doesn't really happen much often after this level. I don't know about the next levels that we'll be playing next part, but if they do bring a possessor back in this level later on, it's maybe 1, maybe 2 possessors. They don't have the 4 or 5 of them that you get in this exhibit area, which can take over your entire fucking team, which becomes a problem because now you got to focus on your team rather than catching ghosts.
And I don't know because my money carried over too, and so now I basically have all but 1 upgrade.
I mean, I'm on normal mode, and I'm still have all but 1 outside of the new.
The piece. Money doesn't make any sense because you're racking up this damage and they're not paying.
No.
Oh, you're losing money when you get paid.
Let me explain that to you.
I still also Christian's point. I have every upgrade but 1 right now.
So
none of this matters.
You get money for capturing ghosts.
Yes.
That's what you use towards your upgrades. The money that you see racking up in the top left of the screen, that is the damages you're doing that the city has to reimburse. As far as so there is a trophy for finishing the game with less than 100,000 damage to the property.
That has to be impossible. That has to be absolutely impossible.
Well, I don't know if it's 100,000, but there's a number. There's a number there. I think it's 100,000, but there's a number there.
100,000, bro. I know I shot a door that was worth 20.
1,000 or 20?
You could probably
20,000.
No, you could probably do it because like when I look at my levels, I was actually pretty low, like in the single digit thousands for most of them, except for this one in the museum. I got bored.
I went hard in the museum.
I shot everything in every case for giggles.
I don't know, but and maybe
so
this
I was well over 100,000.
And maybe this is the thing is, bro. Now that I have all this, I just use boson darts for fucking everything. Everything.
Oh, yeah, why not?
They just die, and especially on easy mode, it's like 3/4 their health bar, and so I walk in, I'm just like, if I see them, boom, 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 but when that damage or the money counter is going up, because I'm blowing shit up left and right. That makes more sense. I don't give a fuck about that achievement, but I'm just saying.
I don't either. There's no penalty.
That's how I play that game, or how I play this game. That achievement would never be reachable by me. I'd never be able to do it because there was one time there's
boson darts outside.
In the
like you'd almost have to not use the boson darts until like
I would never be able to use them. Yeah,
you have to be outside.
And it was like there was one. There's a collectible that I saw on the PKE meter at some point. I think it's in this next level, but it was surrounded by a bunch of boxes and shit.
And dumpsters, like a dumpster and some boxes.
And I was just like,
yeah.
Seeing if I could finagle my way, and then I was like, I know what it wants me to do is to use the grab gun and like, you know, safely move these things out of my way. I was like, bro,
I did the same thing. I blew it up.
I have a rocket launcher. Boom, 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 boom. Get all out of my way. And then everything blew. And I was like, walked in. I was like, thank you for the collectible. And I walked right out.
Yeah, the reason I know that is because I was looking up some stuff on the walkthrough. And it's like, oh, to make sure you get this trophy, you'll have to take this crate to move it out of the way to turn on the power. Or you just, like I do what I do, and blew it up. I'm like, okay, so there's a trophy for this. Okay, all right.
There was a place in one of these playthroughs, either this one or the last one, where there was like a bookcase in front of a way. And like you're supposed to do the same thing. Lasso it, pick it up, move it safely out of the way. I just realized if I shot the top of it with a boson dart, it would almost fall, but the way it was designed, the game wouldn't let it fall over, so it would bounce back. So if I shot it twice, it just fell forward and bounced back at an angle, and then like I shot it again, it fell forward, bounced back at an angle, and was completely sideways, so I just walked straight past it.
Nice. But yeah, the new possessing mechanic is no bueno, no fun.
No.
All right, so after you take down a couple of those possessors, what I call the big guy ghost comes out of the like little obelisk and grabs Alyssa. So Pete, Winston, and who I now call Alex, which is you. We now go chase after him. And as we go through there, we're going through different exhibits. And as you're going through those exhibits, some things come to life that you have to fight down there. So the first one is a Mesopotamian area where you get a bunch of spear throwers, some floating green skulls, which I'm assuming is what it looks like from our D&D group. That's what I kind of had in my mind. And then you go through a Civil War reenactment area to where you're fighting off as Civil War soldiers, where Christian had mentioned that they were both sizing it because you have to take down all the ghosts.
That was Alex that said that.
Alex? Okay.
I said they really both sized it.
Yes, yeah, fair enough. We find out that the big guy is a chairman of the board of this museum, and they were in a club, an evil club, with Ivo Shandor, who he was like the big architect guy who was behind a lot of the Gozer shit going down, and they conducted rituals on women.
Yeah, when they come up with names for people in the Ghostbuster universe, I almost wonder sometimes if they just use like a random name generator and they're just like, yeah, okay.
We play Final Fantasy 14. We have nothing to say here.
I watch Star Wars.
But that's my point. I'm not upset about it, but it's just funny that it's just like, it's based in New York and they're like, yeah, this guy named Ivo Shandor. And I'm like, yeah. That sounds like a Brooklyn name if I've ever heard of it. At least in Star Wars and Final Fantasy, there's places with Like in Star Wars' case, there's a planet with 2 suns and everybody's running around with lightsabers and shit. You at least can go like, yeah, I can go ahead and just assume that people are going to have crazy names. And Final Fantasy is a weeb game for weebs, so that makes sense that they have...
This story, like, I think I said this last time too, when it goes dark, it goes dark. And I think it's a weird... It's a thing they're not balancing well, of like the goofy... Like even the missions like is just kind of goofy and you're killing the ghosts and doing all that stuff, but like the story is like, yes, this board of corrupt men that built this huge construction and all this other stuff underground also just murdered women for fun in the basement.
The
of this place.
wayward
Like,
women too, like it's like from some kind of deal. So it's like women that people wouldn't notice go missing. They are just conducting experiments on.
It's like let's take it down a notch, back it up a bit, guys.
They make sure that it's it's haunted. I'm like, yeah, it's haunted for a real fucking reason too. But we're gonna do chubby chaser jokes in the middle of it. All right, so after we find out all of that, we go through an Egyptian exhibit. These also have the skulls that spawn with portals. This is the first time we actually see them spawn. You saw the opera lady is going through the portals. But now these portals, now we have the black slime, or not the black slime, but actually the slime machine. We can actually go to these portals and close them off so that the green skulls stop coming. It took me a hot second to realize that's what was happening. I'm like, why are these green skulls not going away?
Can I tell you the reason? I got so lucky in this. I walked up, and I think it might have been whoever, one of the teammates, literally was just walking over, and they couldn't, and it's maybe is their AI just not being very good on easy or what, but like, he was spraying green slime like
next to it
on like a little bit of it or like next to it. And he's like, it looks like he's like trying to get around it. And I was like, clearly that's what I'm supposed to do, but this person's not doing a very good job of it, so I'll take over. So I went and did it, but I just thought it was so funny. So I was like, I wouldn't have known what to do here
until you saw someone else trying to do it.
And then I was like, let me solve that problem for you there, big man.
Yeah, it's definitely a new one. We also get some Anubis-looking dudes, shielded warriors. You're supposed to use your grab ray to get rid of the shields. I never did that. I just ran around until I was behind them, or I just hit them with shotgun blasts hard enough to where they're going to be paying attention to someone else, something like that. I've never used that.
The dart, man, just blows them up. Doesn't matter.
There's so many times they expect you to do other shit with like the slime tethers or whatever. I'm like, no, I won't. I have another way of doing this. We're good. So yeah, you get through a lot of rooms and hallways. It's going to be more of this, like, you get to one section, you fight the Anubis shield dudes. You get to another section, you fight some of the Civil War guys. And then we finally get to another cutscene of us trying to take down the big dude because we all do all of this, all to get back to the center of the room that had the main possessors in it again. So we chase him all the way back to the main section, and then we try to take down the big guy. So they all start to slime him, and then he drops Alyssa, and they, I think it was Winston, takes Alyssa off to the side, and the big dude essentially makes a little crack in the floor. He dives down into it. That gets to us as more of the cutscene to where the mayor's pissed off at us, telling we got to fix it because we fucked up his parade, we fucked up his exhibit. Mayor's just mad because he's not getting extra money. So Egon says that you got 2 dimensions converging on each other, and if we don't stop it, all of it's going to be fucked. So we have to still, because he was one, not him, but Peck was wanting to just like get rid of us altogether. But like, no, you need us to take care of this, and the mayor's getting be a dick as well. And he's like, do your damn job. So you see that the floor has that weird little design on it. So what you do is you destroy the obelisk. A couple boson darts takes it down pretty easy. And the pattern, you see that it is that pattern, and it ends up opening up into a staircase down into a tunnel network that has a whole bunch of wispy ghosts and green crystals and shit. And then once we get through there, halfway through, we get the Meson Collider, which is essentially secondary, shoots a tracker on the enemy, and then your primary will then navigate to that enemy.
Dude, you know what it reminds me of, Preston? I don't know if you remember this.
Like a James Bond game?
No. Because I think you might be the other person that played these games. Is a gun? It's the alien gun from Resistance, the first one.
Oh yes,
where you could like shoot over cover, right, and it would like go after him.
And it does have a little glowing dart that gets.
So I saw this, and I was like, "Damn, Naughty Dog really just yanked this shit, huh?"
Little tracking shots, yeah. So I didn't use this weapon too much so far in the game.
I didn't use it once, so when you described it, I was like, "What the hell is he talking about?"
Yeah, I think maybe if I scan a ghost and it tells me that it's weak to it, I'll probably pop it on. But so far, anytime I've been scanning people, it's been like, oh, it's just the normal beam, or it's like, or it's a slime, or it's this and that. I'm like, well, then if they're not going to tell me to use it, then I'm not going to fucking use it. I think they should have made that the weakness of the main boss, but either way.
Yep, I agree.
So you get the Meson Collider, which works like tracking shots. The team takes forever to follow you in the middle section with the black slime machine. So in this section, you're kind of just going through. There's not really any enemies. You're kind of seeing some wispy ghosts go through, so you're kind of just following them out. You get to a section to where you can see the middle of this like giant sewer tunnel type of deal. It has a big contraption in it, but you can't get through it because one of the flooring is dropped out. So you got to go through this other tunnel. I went all the way, went to that section where the boss battle is, looked behind me, none of the dudes are there. So I run all the way back, and they just weren't following me for some reason. And when they do start following you, it's kind of they're taking their leisurely way, yucking it up and fucking chit-chatting and shit as they go through. And I'm like, you guys, it's right there. I'm there already. Let's go.
I was so lucky. I didn't have to. I sprinted right there, and I didn't have any.
This is
issues.
where I had 3 of the door issues, where the door would open, but they wouldn't come through. Mm-hmm. So then I would have to go back and redo the door animation to an empty, like, open door, and then they would walk through. Dude, it was so frustrating.
Yeah, that's probably what happened to me that time then. But I ended up having to go all the way back there just to kind of get them like, yep, you guys coming? We're doing this? Okay, cool. You get to that big slime machine, and then this is where you fight the big guy. The big guy soaks up a whole bunch of those wispy dudes and becomes super big guy / chairman. And what he'll do is that you'll sit there, you want to shoot him in his little eye of Agamotto that he has in the middle of his chest. As you're shooting that, he will then just dip down below the stage to where all of a sudden you'll now have portals pop up on these like 4 quadrants. And these guys are weak to slime, so you just slime them up. They go down pretty quickly. You wait for big dude to come back up. You hose him again. Wait for him to dip back down. Rinse and repeat. Pretty straightforward boss battle. Nothing too special going on here. And then you finally defeat him. All right, so once you defeat him, obviously it cuts back to that big symbol you saw that turned into a staircase. And then that one of those little circles disappears again. This is where we get a cutscene. Peck saying that he is shutting us down. Egon senses something about him using the PKE meter. So he's like, we really need to keep an eye on him. So we'll be able to find out what that is, I'm assuming, in the later levels. We find out that the symbol that we've been seeing is a mandala, which is kind of like a puzzle for a map. You put the overlay on top of a map, you line the points up. You kind of see where the other main spots are, which these are going to be portals to where these big enemy bosses essentially are popping up from. So the next one that we see is in the river, and we'll see more about that when we get there. But in this case, we will be going back to the Cedric real quick to kind of investigate a little bit more. But this will be the second level. So how did you guys feel about the first level before we go on?
So I'll say if I had your guys' issues, just like last time where I had a bunch of issues, if I had your guys' issues, I would have lost my fucking mind. Like if it would have compounded from what I had. I smoked this level. It probably took me to complete both levels this week was about an hour and a half. So less than an hour for each one. Like I was like, boom, in out. Like I was surprised at how fast it went. Like I said, I don't know if that's because I was used to normal and then I went to easy.
Could be.
And so things were just like blowing up and dying and I was like, oh, thank God, this is fantastic. But yeah, I thought this level was fun. It is more or it is what I like about some of the charm of Ghostbusters was all over this level. Like you have a lot of campy, stupid moments with the Union and the Confederates and all the dumb shit in the museums and it's all coming to life. The whole night in the museum hijinks, right? So with all of that situation, I thought that was great. I agree with both of you that story-wise, and it happens in this next level too, but they go like really hard on details. And you're like, Jesus Christ, dude, you bringing the vibe down here, and then like they're right back to get a load of this guy like right after that, and so you're like, what's the tone you're trying to strike here? Like I don't quite get it. But yeah, I thought that a lot of the Ghostbusters charm was in the museum level that previously was not in some of the other levels.
I think balance is an issue they have all over this game, whether it's with the tone of the story or like the boss fights. Like this boss fight was so easy. I did it instantly, right? Like it was so quick and fast. And the Stay Puft Marshmallow boss fight is so easy. But then you have the one where like you're shooting the chairs and stuff. And like it wasn't hard, but like it is more difficult than the others. And the next fight we have was more difficult than the others with the mechanics. And I just think they have a balance issue, like just all over the place of some things being too easy, some things being more difficult than they should be, and stuff like that. I liked this level enough. I think I'm just seeing that like the loop is not my jam right now, which is just run into room, kill ghost, run into room, kill ghost, run into room, kill ghost, back to the room where you started, right? And it's if it was a few ghosts, that's fine. It's not. It's a lot. It's a lot of ghosts. I like all the my favorite part, which I don't think they do enough of. Like I like all of the mini bosses, and I like all of the bosses, and I just think like less enemies and more like unique bigger bads, right? Like the sailor in the hotel, right? Like he wasn't a big bad, but like it was just like a little mini boss, right? I think less little floating heads and books and stuff, and more of like the one-offs would be cooler. But yeah, it's just getting to the boss or getting to the mini boss. And sometimes I'm like, okay.
I will say that, one thing I forgot. This level is the level that I discovered or that I tested and
we both tested the sprint.
Confirmed, yeah, and we both Alex and I talked about this. The sprint has the same issue as the sprint in Biomutant, where
or God of War or Gears of War. Sorry.
No, Gears of War you actually do move faster, but
it's 1.5 times, yeah.
Yeah, in this game you don't move faster at all in the sprint. Like you can test it. Yeah, if you like get on next time and you test it, what they basically do the equivalent of like a child adding speed lines to a drawing and being like make them think they're going faster by zooming the camera and like blurring the things, but you move the same speed if you walk or sprint.
Okay. I tested it twice. I tested it once in the firehouse up top. I ran from the stairs to the corner and then walked from the stairs to the corner, same speed, and then underground in that little like what we were just talking about, the last boss area. We had the longer platform, same thing, and there's no difference. which is infuriating at that point. Just don't put it in the game. I don't need this.
Or give me like an insignificant, like give me like a little bit of a bump.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny because you do like it's the camera zooms out and it gets blurry and he's like, "I'll go so fast," but then everybody's just walking right behind. It's so funny.
Yeah. So yeah, the level was fine. Like I said, the bosses were good, but it was just the boss was too easy. Like it was just too fast. And it was like there's a lot of build up for a simple boss fight. But
now, to be fair, there is something to be said about playing on easy versus experience, right? Because like these bosses' health bars fly down on easy compared to what they do on experience.
But that one, which was like the collector, like that dude was on a different level as far as like what he could do, like shooting like shards of shit at you, having like an area effect, stuff like that, just knocking our teammates down in like 1 or 2 hits.
Yeah, he is an easier fight.
Versus this one, as the first time I saw the enemies come out of the ooze, and I was like, okay, I have to kill that. So then the next time, as soon as the big guy disappeared, I would turn to the corner I was in, go bot spray, turn to the other one,
and
bot
immediately
spray,
him,
spray. And you're like, okay, done. I got this. Like this one's simple.
Yeah, very straightforward. All right. Well, second level will be returned to Cedric Hotel. It's closed, but we can just walk in because there's no locks on the doors apparently. I
will say, I wish that they'd have let him blow the door. I think it'd have been so funny just to be like, "We're melting our way in," and he's like, "I have an idea," and he opens it, and that was a funny gag anyway. But I would have loved the idea of that guy being in there, like being on his like. Even though the one employee's not supposed to be in there and the whole thing, and you're going to get to that, but I love the idea of like it cutting to his perspective of somebody melting an open door, like and
as
then
he's already scared shitless in the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's closed due to the government stuff, and then getting renovated, obviously, because there's might be some structural issues. But we left it unlocked.
That we caused.
Yeah, we caused. But left it unlocked, so we just walk in. We find that there was residual hauntings here, which you'll see a little wispy ghost. Not the same type of wispy ghost we saw in the sewers, but just like residual imaging, essentially, of ghosts that are just kind of hanging out still in the theater. We find the manager who's hanging out. He has a very funny scream I wrote down. He has that very high pitched squeal. It's like
a very effeminate scream.
Yeah.
I will say. So this moment, I had a funny glitch that I didn't get to get a clip of, but I wanted to tell you guys about. So I was just beelining through this level. Like, I was crushing it. And I'm just, like I said, both levels this time, I just smoked. So I'm going through, and I got to the hallway before he got to the door to, like, open it and scream and pass out. So he's behind me. So I hear he goes like, ah! Like, and like screams, but then his body is like limp and it's just like just like moves, like it just
Slides.
just like flies to that point to be there and hit it. Oh god, it cracked me up, and I was like scrambling for the shadow play button, but it was too late. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get it. But god, it was so funny.
Yeah, we see the manager who has the ruby rod scream. We also, as we're talking to him, we're trying to figure out what's going on here. We see someone called the Spider Witch take somebody into the elevator with a big old kitchen knife in her hand. So yeah, sexy lady takes her up the elevator, but for us to follow them, we have to get the power back to the location to be able to go up to the elevator, because apparently the stairs might not be working. So, to be fair, we did see the stairs get kind of toppled out a couple times.
Yeah, he said there's a huge chunk missing because of the water and all that. Yeah, so you can't walk up them.
So that's fair enough. So once we see that, we find out we got to do that. So we go in to get the power back on. We run through the kitchen, so we can get the power back on for the elevator. We find a couple of these like skeleton ghosts. So
and like a weird chef dude.
Yeah. So once we get the power on, we should find the chefs. There's a couple of them. But for us to get the power generator back on, we turn it on. Of course, that area that we turn it on in is surrounded by water. A electrical wire goes down into the water, which you have to remove. So they are screaming at you to use your slime tether.
They wait like 2 seconds.
I did not use the slime tether at all. I just used the grab mechanic from the main laser, and I just put it over the top of one of like the pieces of equipment in that main room. Left it out of the water just fine.
That's amazing.
Did you guys use the slime tethers?
I did the slime. I shot at the bottom, shot straight up to the ceiling, and just went. And I was like, cool, okay.
I did it too.
Yeah, you didn't even tell me that. Like, I know. I can figure this out myself.
Like, you don't even have a chance to switch to the slime gun before somebody's like, use the slime mechanic. Like, they're like screaming at you. You're like, bro,
they really don't want you to
fucking
sit there and beat your head against the wall in that one. Like, it's not hard. I saw something fall in. I'll get it out.
I'm just like,
the room is 3 feet. Like, how long are you going to be stuck in this room? Like, as a gamer, as any player, there's not enough.
As a capital G gamer.
No, but I'm saying, like, as the player of the game, there's not enough in this small space to confuse me, right?
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to be stuck here forever.
I'm not even mad at the idea of having a hint, right? Because, like, I get it. But, like, maybe give me 2 minutes at least. Like, and just be like, let that timer kick down. And if I don't do it in 2 minutes, then sure, scream at me. But like, I'm like I said, dude, you don't even have time to press the shoulder button and switch on the D-pad to the slime gun before they're screaming at you. Like, don't step in the fucking water. Use the slime mechanic. You're like, dude, okay, I'm doing it.
Take care of it. But yeah, falls in the wire. We pull it out. I put in there. That's dumb. Also put a little note in here.
That's dumb.
This is the last fountain.
You should have just let me shock myself to death. Fuck you.
Or I mean, I walked in the wire a little bit. It hurts you a little bit. I probably could have found a way just to kind of like just have a little hop towards the door and maybe walked out. Who knows? So I tell you the slime tether. Once we get past that main section, we will go ahead and fight the cook ghost in the kitchen. There's a couple of them in there. Thought their design was pretty cool. But you don't do too much with them other than just chase them around and then capture them. From here, Egon and Alex go up to the 12th floor, and the Spider Witch lady turns the area into Christian's favorite level. So this turns like kind of like the water dude. This one turns the whole like floor, like you can walk in through the floor a little bit, and then all of a sudden you start to notice it changes into more of spider webs, spider eggs, humans hanging that are closed up.
So I had I hated all of that, and more specifically, there was a part in there was a video that I wanted to send you guys about this part where it's this Instagram reel, but it's like a little black widow like comes down in front of this guy's like house, like his window. And he goes, "Hell no!" And then a gun comes out and he shoots it. I thought it was the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah, that's what you would do.
But that's what I would do. Yeah, this was like, it was like, oh, the spider witch, and she killed. And again, it's a thing like the guy's telling the story, and he's like, she killed 13 people in our room or something like that. I'm like, damn, dude, okay.
It was a little on the nose to make her a spider, given that like females that
she would lure the victims and do the
right, like females that do that are
thing.
called Black Widows. Like I get it, but it was a little on the nose to just make her.
She had the tattattoo on her back and everything.
Black Widow thing.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so I was just like, oh, of course. It was like if I was the cadet in this, I'd have been like, oh man, is that the end of the Ghostbuster gun? Brand? Like I would have just
Nope, I'm done. Out.
I'm out of here. Yeah. I thought there was a missed opportunity for a good Ghostbusters joke, like style joke, which was the guy passes out, right, like the museum manager, and he was already so uppity about everything that had been broken. And then he passed out because he saw the ghost, and he's ooh, and then he just went to sleep. I thought it would have been funny is if he comes back and you guys are walking out of the kitchen, and then he sees all the damage that you did in the kitchen, and just screams and faints. I thought it would have been really funny. So I don't know. I was like, man, I was like, missed opportunity, missed opportunity. You could have, because in a movie setting, they totally would have done that.
Oh
yeah, that would have been a good joke.
All right, so as you're going through this Christian's nightmare, you fight some small spiders here and there. And you finally get to a section to where it's her room. There's a little foggy door. As you go through that foggy door, it turns into the spider lair.
The Dark Souls boss.
Yeah. To where it's a big giant spider section and then a hot lady frontal section. Because, of course, the spider lady still has to have titties.
Hot lady frontal section.
So you see her, sexy spider witch lady, and it's a pretty easy boss. You will battle her, and she will bamf from here and there. So she'll essentially come at you from one of the tunnels. You shoot her a bit, she disappears in a cloud of smoke. Bamfing, if you don't know what bamfing was. And then after a certain amount, she will just try to hide somewhere in the little layer section. So Egon will shout something.
I didn't realize that's what Bamf. I thought Bamf stood for badass motherfucker.
Well, when Nightcrawler in the comic books, when he disappears, the sound that he makes is Bamf.
I think you mean boof.
No, I thought he bamfs. Pretty sure he bamfs.
Maybe he boofs.
I'll look it up here in a little bit. Not right now though. Pretty sure it's not boof. I've been reading X-Men recently. I'm pretty sure it's not boof.
I don't know. I hear people are into boofing.
I've heard people into boofing too, but I don't think that's what we're talking about.
Especially in the frontal sections, I think people really like boofing.
In the sexy frontal section.
The sexy parts. Yeah, she's a pretty easy boss. She'll just kind of disappear here and there. And then she'll go off somewhere in that layer to recharge. It's not a big area, so you can peel a PKE meter if you want. Otherwise, you can do what I did, which is just run around until you find her. You shoot her a little bit. She falls off.
That's what I did.
Yep, she falls off. Rinse and repeat.
I only found her once because they're at such fucked angles that half the time I'll be on the backside of something. I could see like her leg, but the way they do it is regardless if you stop her or not, her health bar goes down faster the second time and the third time and the fourth time, right? Yeah. So it
I found her each time, but I didn't even realize that you needed to use your PKE. Egon didn't tell me that once. He was like, we just gotta find her. The game does,
though. The game's like, hey, man, put on your PK meter really big on the screen, but I just ran
around. I didn't even notice it. I was like, yeah, I'll find her.
Anytime your PKE meter like finds something that's not like super obvious to you or not spoken about, like it will pull up a dialogue thing on your screen that says, oh, use your PKE meter.
Yeah, I've seen that, for like collectibles and stuff.
It's not that big of a boss layer. I'm like, I'll just run real quick and I'll find her. So yeah, you rinse and repeat that. You do that enough. As soon as you defeat her, boss dimension disappears. and so does another circle on the mandala map. And then it starts to do into a cutscene, which I just dropped out of because I'm assuming it's going to talk to the next section. But yeah, how do you guys feel about this? Is a super. I feel like this is like a super duper short level.
Yeah,
it's a repeat, which I'm glad it wasn't too long because we were just here, but still.
I think the second section was definitely shorter. I bring up the balance piece. In my opinion, so far, she was the coolest designed boss.
She's pretty cool.
I
just
the
like
worst
the
designed. Yeah. But yeah, I know the fisherman was good too. But I think she was like the coolest designed boss in the worst designed environment. Right? Like it was just very
it's
plain.
Just very basic.
Her boss arena was terrible. It was just like plain cobwebs, big open like alleyways to run, if you will, or pathways. So like I thought she was super cool. I was like, this is great. And the area I was like incredibly let down by.
Feels a little rushed, yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I don't know, it was weird. I had mixed feelings about it. But like her as a boss was cool. The story of her in the hotel part was cool. And exploring the like creepy hotel and the creepy
before
rooms
you get to her lair,
was also really good. So I liked the area, but
I liked that more. I liked that more than the actual fight itself. Like exploring the creepy hotel rooms and all that other stuff. I was like, this was it's spooky as opposed to I thought that was better than the other one
for sure.
Agreed.
But yeah, that will finish up part 2, and then we will do part.
How did you feel?
I liked it. I thought obviously it was short, but I mean, there's nothing we're going to do about that as far as jumping into 3 parts. So that way, we didn't do it in 2 halves, and the second half being super duper long. I liked the museum section. I thought that had a lot of nice story beats. I thought that had a lot of nice variety. Return to Cedric was fine. I just wish they would have had the Spider Lady section and put that somewhere else. Like, put it in an apartment complex where the Spider Lady lived, rather than a hotel that she apparently killed 13 people in a row in. I'm like, maybe it would be better to do an apartment complex, but there hasn't been a... Well, I mean, you can go to Dana Barrett's apartment complex from the second movie. If you really want to do all those callbacks to every fucking thing you put in the game. But I feel like it would have been better as more of an apartment rather than going back to the Cedric, to where you could have had a little bit bigger of a level, and then you could do more with the spider stuff within that level. Just do more, rather than having to do half of it within the Cedric building. But yeah, I think this is a fine part. I think that one collector boss in the Ultimate Dimension worried me for boss battles going forward, but after dealing with these 2 bosses, I'm like, oh, we'll be fine. I mean, there might be a weird gimmick on one of these bosses, but they're not going to be as rough and tough as that one boss was. So,
hey, they still got at least 2 more.
You got 2 more, so who knows what will happen? Because I don't remember.
I have a prediction that the next boss is going to be tougher than the final boss. Just because,
oh, you think so?
That seems to be what it is. Yeah, I do.
Just the way this is going.
I do.
But yeah, we will do the island and Central Park, which will be the last 2 levels, and then we'll wrap it up from there. But yeah, that'll be it for the Ghostbusters run playthrough.
Cool. All right. Not bad. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, everybody. If you've ever played the Ghostbusters game, if anybody's ever played it, I'd love to know your thoughts on it. I don't know if Travis... I don't think Travis is playing along. We had been talking about it, though. He's been following along with the book club. I always encourage him to play the games that we're playing just to follow along with it. I think it's interesting to get other people's insights. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this game ends. I don't know which way my rating is going to go by the end of it, but I'm interested to see how it ends either way. And yeah, 1 part left.
Yes, indeed.
So that means, Christian, you're up next, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what we're playing already? You don't have to tell us, clearly. It's not time, but you know what we're playing, yeah?
I do. Yeah, I can tell you. I don't care if you guys want to know now and wait till next week.
Nah, we can wait till next week. I just wondered, because I'm always panicking, like, before it comes up to my turn on figuring out what to play.
I usually pick... I usually, by the time my turn ends, I usually already have the next one lined up in my head.
We have
well,
a
we
list
know it's
there.
not. We know it's not Metro.
Yeah. Preston and I use a list.
I
that
see
you are
list.
also
I've
part of,
seen
Alex, that you just have not.
I know. I've seen
contributed.
it. I've looked at it.
Yeah, he's just gonna start
Don't wanna
stealing
get-
stuff from ours. He's like, I don't know what to do next. Well, let's pick one from Preston or Christian's.
I was gonna put that down there, but you guys already had it. So
next time we're gonna do Star Fox 64. I'm like, oh yeah, that's your option. That's the choice you're making. Okay.
I love that
next
game.
next time it'll be Metro VR. Be like, oh, I played the last Metro game. There we go.
Yeah, hard
So-
pass.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out with us on another episode. We will catch you next week where we finish up the Ghostbusters. And with that, from Preston and Tedward in the new place, you know what to do.
Go to twitch.tv/testingroompod. We're still doing KOTOR Sundays, 9:30
Do it.
Central Standard Time in the morning. So join us. It'll be fun.
Moaning.
Other than that, what we do, Ted?
Hit it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.